and this is posted on whitehouse.gov. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America in order to promote United States leadership in digital assets and financial technology while protecting economic liberty, it is hereby ordered as follows. Let me crank this down a little bit. Oh, let me know if that's good for you guys. So, Section 1, Purpose and Policies. The digital asset industry plays a crucial role. Let's do one more thing. There we go. That's better. Let's hack it. In innovation and economic development in the United States, as well as our nation's international leadership, it is therefore the policy of my administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the community or economy, including by protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use for lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining, yes, and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, and to maintain self-custody of digital assets. So obviously, if I was writing this is how I would write that first part for sure. This is amazing. 2, promoting and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through actions to promote the development and the growth of lawful and legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide. Obviously, this has to be put into place for the U.S. to benefit in particular from these, from cryptocurrency in general. That being said, I'm not a big fan of like stable coins, even though they do get used a lot. You have to use them for a lot of swapping. If you want to pay power bills, etc. That's typically how most people want you to send it, in some sort of stable coin format. So there you go. 3, protecting and promoting fair and open access to banking services for all lawful abiding or all law abiding individual citizens and private sector entities alike. Hello and welcome to the channel, Lotus. Thanks for stopping by. 4, providing regulatory clarity and certainty built on technology neutral regulations, frameworks that account for emerging technologies, transparent decision making, and well-defined jurisdictional regulatory boundaries, all of which are essential to supporting a vibrant and inclusive digital economy and innovation in digital assets, permissionless blockchains, and distributed ledger technologies. 5, taking measures to protect Americans from the risks of central bank digital currencies which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and the use of a CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States. Yes! CBDC worries are gone. For a little while there with the Biden administration, I was scared that we were just going to have CBDCs and no blockchains in general. I don't even know what to say about how awesome this is, because frankly, it just is everything that I texted my mom earlier. I texted her, I said, this is crazy. Trump is doing everything that I've been talking about since 2016 that the US needed to do in relation to cryptocurrency. And like I've talked about before, this is, if the US becomes the hub for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in general, it'll be way ahead of the curve. Obviously, there's a lot going into the AI side of things too. And with this does appear to be coming a decrease in energy costs as well. Home mining might be back, boys. It might come back. So definitions for the purpose of this order: the term digital asset refers to any digital representation of value that is recorded on a distributed ledger, including cryptocurrencies, digital tokens, and stablecoins. The term blockchain means any technology where data is shared across the network to create a public ledger of verified transactions or information among network participants, linked using cryptography to maintain the integrity of the public ledger and to execute other functions. Distributed among network participants in an automated fashion to concurrently update network participants on the state of the public ledger and any other functions, and composed of source code that is publicly available. All really good stuff. CBDC means a form of digital money or monetary value denominated in the national unit of account that is direct liability of a central bank or the central bank. So there you go as far as that. So Section 3 will be a revocation of Executive Order 14067 and Department of Treasury Framework of July 7, 2022. They're rolling that one back in particular, which is awesome. We needed that. So it's hereby revoked. The Secretary of the Treasury is directed to immediately revoke the Department of the Treasury's Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets. Remember, we talked about that back in 2022 as well. It's crazy how bad the last previous presidential suite was for cryptocurrency, and seeing this all get just flipped right back is, I'm pretty much speechless other than reading what they're saying here. All policies, directives, and guidance issued pursuant to Executive Order 14067 and the Department of Treasury's Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets are hereby rescinded or shall be rescinded by the Secretary of the Treasury as appropriate to the extent they are inconsistent with the provisions of this order. The Secretary of the Treasury shall take all appropriate measures to ensure compliance with the policies set forth in this order. Establishment of the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets. There is hereby established within the National Economic Council the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets Working Group. The working group shall be chaired by the Special Advisor for AI and Crypto. In addition to the chair, the working group shall include the following officials or designees: the Secretary of the Treasury, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of the Office of Management and Budget, the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs, the Assistant to the President for National Economic Policy, the Assistant to the President for Science and Technology, the Homeland Security Advisor, the Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and of course, you got to get the Commodity Futures Trading in there, the CFTC. So, this is basically a new working group for digital assets in support of this administration in particular. And these are the people that are included. Obviously, you can go figure out who all these are being appointed to, etc., including, of course, Cynthia Loomis, which is obviously a big one because she's been a big proponent of crypto for a very long time. I assume she had a heavy hand in helping with coming up with all of these things. So, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, the chair may invite the heads of other executive departments and agencies or other senior officials within the executive office of the president to attend meetings of the working group based on the relevance of their expertise and responsibilities. Within 30 days of the date of this order, the Department of the Treasury, the Department of Justice, the SEC, and other relevant agencies, the heads of which are included in the working group, shall identify all regulations, guidance documents, and orders. So we're going to get clear guidelines on what is allowed and not allowed surrounding cryptocurrencies in the digital asset sector, which is going to allow for innovation through the wazoo. I mean, the big problem was regulatory uncertainty surrounding cryptocurrency, which really stifled innovation over the past couple years. Within 60 days of this order, each agency shall submit to the chair recommendations with respect to whether each identified regulation, guidance document, order, or other item should be rescinded or modified, or for items other than regulations adopted in a regulation. Within 180 days of the date of this order, the working group shall submit a report to the president through the APEP, which shall recommend regulatory and legislative proposals that advance the policies established in this order. In particular, the report shall focus on the following: a regulatory framework governing the issuance and operation of digital assets, including stablecoins in the United States. The working group's report shall consider provisions for market structure, oversight, consumer protection, and risk management. Now, we do have the right to self-custody. That was the big one that was laid out here, which is very, very good. But I do get a little leery surrounding, of course, the entire idea of having oversight and consumer protection. Consumer protection, that term was used by the Biden administration to stifle, innovation within the cryptocurrency space. And so I think I'm a little, I have some PTSD surrounding consumer protection personally, but we'll have to see what they come up with. The working group shall evaluate the potential creation of and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile and propose criteria for establishing such a stockpile, potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government through its law enforcement efforts. The chair shall designate an executive director of the working group who shall be responsible for coordinating its day-to-day functions. On issues affecting the national security, the working group shall consult with the National Security Council. As appropriate and consistent with law, the working group shall hold public hearings and receive individual expertise from leaders in digital assets and digital markets. Prohibition of CBDCs is defined further, including, except to the extent required by law, agencies are hereby prohibited undertaking any action to establish, issue, or promote CBDCs within the jurisdiction of the United States or abroad. Now, I did hear some negativity surrounding Ripple in particular, where people were saying, oh, Ripple's getting banned. Ripple isn't necessarily a CBDC. I don't think that was ever its intention. My thought was that it was there to work with banks and so on. I still think, self-custody, don't participate in cryptocurrency with banks, but having that regulatory framework there for when you do need to exit the crypto market. Hopefully we never have to exit the crypto market anymore, and we just get direct crypto payments, which I assume with the, release of this and everything coming out with regulation, it may be very possible here in the near future that we don't have to pull out of cryptocurrency into a US dollar to pay anything, including our power bills, which would be fantastic. So, except to the extent required by law, any ongoing plans or initiatives at any agency related to the creation of a CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States shall be immediately terminated, and no further actions may be taken to develop or implement such plans or initiatives. If any provision of this order or the application of any provision to any person or circumstances held to be invalid, the remainder of this order and the application of its provisions to any other persons or circumstances shall not be affected thereby. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department agency or the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. So there's still a lot of pending questions here. In particular, what will the regulatory framework look like when it's proposed? What will these proposals look like? We should get a little bit in 30 days, more in 60 days, and then all of it within the next 180 days, which means the next 180 days, you know, are probably going to be extremely speculatively bullish, I would assume, for the cryptocurrency market in general. But I don't think we'll start seeing a lot of new innovations or like crypto projects necessarily get started up right away until the regulatory framework is very clear for what it is. But we'll have to see where it's headed there. And, you know, hopefully they let us hodl some goat coin. You know what I mean? Over here, some goat coin. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.